All right, I can reveal tonight that the cruel Queensland government has struck again with its heartless, tough stance on quarantine, keeping families apart. The latest victim is a Sunshine Coast man by the name of David Leslie, who rushed down to Sydney last month to save his sister's life by giving her one of his kidneys. He now wants to return to Queensland and applied for an exemption to quarantine at home, with his doctors writing to Queensland Health stating it was not safe for David to continue his recovery alone in a hotel. He's been isolating, he's double vaxxed, and he's returned negative COVID test, but that's still not good enough for Anastasia Palaszczuk's government. David Leslie joins me now. David, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Chris. It's great to join you. Thank you.
Tell me about, you went down, you wanted to give your kidney. This is no ordinary operation, right?
No, it's no ordinary operation at all. It's actually a major operation. I certainly didn't know how major it was until I went through it. I mean, on the 27th of last month, my sister and I went into Royal North Shore Hospital. We had the operation. I remember recovering on the 28th, and I was on morphine, and my sister literally walked into my ward, and it's the first time I've seen her looking good, as far as she had colour back in her face,
right.
Her eyes were open, the wrinkles were gone, and she'd received a new kidney. And this was an absolute miracle. And from my point of view, it was probably one of the worst and the best days of my life, just seeing her come back to life. It was such a gift. It was such an honour for me to do it. And yeah, from my point of view, that was all worth it. But it certainly has been a major operation. And still today, 2 weeks later, I'm still going through a pretty heavy recovery.
I bet you are. You're as crook as a dog for most of this period. Tell me, your arguments were you've been double vaxxed, you've got negative test results back as well, you've got your doctor to write a letter, and what in that letter did he say about how dangerous it would be being in hotel quarantine on your own?
Well, it's a she. She basically said, look, it's unsafe for me to be in hotel quarantine because I don't have rapid access to medical attention, obviously, and I don't have the support network around me. I mean, I haven't stubbed my toe. I've literally had a kidney ripped out of my body. So there's a lot of things. I mean, there's wound dressing, there's obviously pain management. I have to also do specific types of exercise so my kidney can readjust to having only one kidney in my body. So there's a lot of things that has to happen. And this was all addressed in a letter to Queensland Health. But again, they just came back with a blanket no and said, look, too bad, you have to go into hotel quarantine. I did object against that and appealed again on the grounds that I've been double vaxxed, I've self-isolated, I've had a negative test. And I also said to them, I'm more than happy for my family to self-isolate with me for 14 days at home, so there's no risk to the general public. But again, they came back and they said no.
Listen, there are so many worthy cases that we have heard about, and now your case tonight, that you can only think that the health department looking after this are heartless. But what's the problem here? Do you think, and this is just a theory that I've had when I cottoned onto your story, are there just too many cases and applications for exemptions, and this department is so small they can't handle them?
I think it's a combination of all of the above. Yes, I think there's a lot of exemptions, but the process itself, it has holes in it. It's like a block of cheese with holes in it. It's absolutely flawed. I mean, I applied for my exemption 4 weeks ago, knowing that I was coming down to Sydney to have the operation, but they don't seem to have the ability and the personnel to deal with individual cases.
Yeah.
I mean, even in my case where I requested it, and they came back with a no, when I asked why, they couldn't really give me reasons. So I don't think they're well trained enough. I think they've got too many people asking for exemptions. And lastly, I don't think they have a way of dealing with certain types of requests. So for me, where I said to them, I'm recovering from a very serious operation, I now need to go into hotel quarantine. And I asked them, I said, look, I need a couple more things to help me recover from this operation. Can you provide me with that? And they said, well, we will request it, but we cannot guarantee you that you will actually have it. And I said, well, what do you mean by that? And they said, well, you'll find out what type of room you'll get when you land in Brisbane. And I said, well, you're basically playing Russian roulette with my life. You're playing Russian roulette with my recovery. I said I could go into a room and the facilities I need for a recovery may not be there, and it may put my life in jeopardy or severely impact on my recovery.
Yeah.
And they said, well, that's just the process.
Well, we've raised it again. We've raised it now, and hopefully we can follow it up with the Queensland Health Department, because by the sound of what we've heard from Anastasia Palaszczuk and Jeanette Young this week, they don't get across any of this stuff. Let's get across some of the detail for them on Monday. David Leslie, all the very best to you, mate. Well done.
Thank you, Chris. Very much appreciate your time.
No problem. Yeah. It's just a Mickey Mouse system that they're running for exemptions.